Hello and welcome to Embrace the Deception. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a 2008 interview on 60 Minutes with Roger Clemens, where he denies using performance-enhancing drugs. Now, I want to point out that I thought that he actually eventually admitted to using PEDs at some point, but apparently, according to this 2016 article from Fox Sports, it says, like Barry Bonds, Clemens never tested positive for or admitted use of PEDs. He did go to trial on perjury charges related to PEDs, but he was found not guilty. So apparently he never admitted it. He was tried for perjury when he said that he never used PEDs before Congress, and he was found not guilty. So according to the court system, and to Roger Clemens himself, he has never used performance-enhancing drugs. However, watching this 60 Minutes interview from 8 years earlier, I would tend to disagree. But that's my opinion. All of the opinions expressed in this video are just that, opinions. I reserve the right to be wrong. I'm not formally accusing anyone of anything in this video, but I will tell you what I see and give you my interpretation. So let's go ahead and play this video from the beginning, and I'll tell you why I suspect that he has in fact used PEDs. But again, he was found not guilty, so this is my opinion. But let's play the video.
I'm angry that what I've done for the game of baseball and as a person in my private life, what I've done, that I don't get the benefit of the doubt. The stuff that's being said, it's ridiculous. It's hogwash for people to even assume this. 24, 25 years, Mike, you'd think I'd get an inch of respect. An inch. How can you prove your innocence?
Apparently you haven't done it yet. People I talk to say, oh, come on.
Now that right there, where he lifted his hand to his face, he could just have an itch. That's possible. But this is also called the shame tap. When you're covering your eyes, it could be a sign that you're ashamed of something. And in this case, he could be ashamed of using performance-enhancing drugs and lying about it. Or it could just be an itch.
How does he still throw a ball and compete and so forth? I mean, it's impossible.
It's not impossible. You do it with hard work. Ask any of my teammates. Ask anybody that's come here and done the work with me.
I was down here.
The ask anybody is also a possible sign of deception. It's an effort to convince someone of something rather than to convey information. So if someone asks you, did you take performance-enhancing drugs, you could just say no, or you can say, no, I would never do something like that. Ask anybody. That kind of statement is convincing rather than conveying, so that's a little bit of a red flag. But again, even with the eyebrow thing and with the ask anybody, those may be red flags, but no single red flag is hard evidence that someone is being deceptive. But as we go a little further along in this video, I think we might see something that is a little more convincing.
I was down here in 2001, and you were pitching to a guy by the name of...
So he was licking his lips there.
I was down here in 2001, and you were pitching...
He hasn't even been asked a question yet, but when you're licking your lips, they could just be dry, but it's also a sign that you're uncomfortable. When the fight or flight response kicks in, blood is drawn away from your ears, your nose, your mouth, and sometimes people will touch their face or lick their lips because of that, so it could be a sign that he's uncomfortable.
And you were pitching to a guy by the name of...
Well, Brian McNamee, that's right.
McNamee helped Clemens work out on and off for 10 years. Clemens is famous for his exhausting workouts. He's been called the hardest working man in throw business. But now he's been thrown by what McNamee told George Mitchell. He gave very specific examples of the times he says that he injected you with steroids. During the '98 season, you were pitching for the Blue Jays. McNamee was their strength and conditioning coach. From the Mitchell report, quote,
so there's a couple of interesting things there.
Injected you with steroids.
Mike Wallace is telling Roger Clemens about some times where his training partner talked about injecting him with steroids.
During the '98 season, you were...
We see a hard swallow, and we see the jaw come forward a little bit. That's an expression of anger.
Pitching for the Blue Jays.
So let's go back just a little bit. And then also the eye is looking down. That can be shame. So there's possible signs of shame, anger, and a hard swallow.
Steroids. During the '98 season, you were pitching for the Blue Jays. McNamee was their strength and conditioning coach. From the Mitchell report, quote, Clemens approached McNamee and
Another hard swallow as the allegations are being laid out.
for the first time brought up the subject of using steroids. Clemens said that he was not able to inject himself, and he asked for McNamee's help. McNamee injected Clemens approximately 4 times in the buttocks over a several-week period with needles that Clemens provided. Each incident took place.
So I let that play for a bit because there are multiple things happening there. So I'm going to go back and we'll watch it again. There are multiple hard swallows as Mike Wallace is laying out the allegations. There's also looking down several times where it's kind of like a shame. If you're ashamed, you might be like, you know, that kind of look. And then he also seems to be nodding along with the accusations like, yep, that happened. Yep, I did that. So let's watch that again.
To inject himself, and he asked for McNamee's help.
Hard swallow,
McNamee
nodding.
injected Clemens approximately 4 times in the
Hard
buttocks over
swallow.
a several-week period with needles that
Looking
Clemens
down.
provided. Each incident
Nodding,
took place
looking down again.
in Clemens' apartment.
It never happened.
So there's a lot of possible signs of shame, nodding along like, yes, it happened. Multiple hard swallows. He's very uncomfortable when those allegations are being read. And then he says, never happened.
It never happened. Never happened. And if I have these needles and these steroids and all these drugs, where did I get them? Where's the person that gave them to me? Please come forward.
Did your former...
That's kind of a deflection. Where'd I get these drugs? Where's the person who gave it to me? What does that prove? That doesn't prove anything.
trainer, Brian McNamee, ever inject you with anything?
Yes, he did.
What?
Lidocaine and B12 is for my joints, and B12 I take still today. A lot of trainers have.
And that's all?
That's it.
When he says that's it looks like he's trying to nod, but it also turns to the side. He might be shaking his head a little bit. It's subtle, but it could be a possible red flag.
That's all?
That's it.
Never a human growth
Licking the lips
hormone?
and disappearing lips. So licking the lips, again, is that fight or flight response. And then when your lips disappear, it's withholding. You're either withholding information or you're withholding an emotion. And then, of course, the eyes close, and that's also like putting up a barrier. So there are multiple red flags on that one there.
That's it.
Never a human growth hormone?
Never.
Never testosterone?
So, in my personal opinion, that was a lie.
Never.
And never an anabolic steroid?
Never.
And then that is another shame look, in my opinion.
Swear.
Swear.
Brian McNamee's attorney said McNamee will decide, after watching this interview, whether he'll sue Clemens for defamation. McNamee declined to talk to us. The problem both he and Clemens have is proving they're telling the truth. After listening to you in this interview, you think that people are going to believe you? Believe that you, Roger Clemens, never took steroids?
I think the people that know me believe me and understand what I'm about. And I can't.
So that's kind of a non-answer. Do you think you're going to convince anyone? The people who know me believe me. That may be a true statement. Maybe his close friends and family do believe him. But it's not a denial.
I think the people that know me believe me and understand what I'm about. And I can't, the people that are out there that have been saying the things that they've been saying, I don't know if I'll ever swing their opinion. These accusations are not going to change me as a person. I'll do everything I can to prove them wrong, and I still don't know if that's good enough.
That last part was probably true, but it doesn't mean that he didn't take any performance-enhancing drugs. After watching that interview, it's my opinion that he's being deceptive. I see multiple signs of deception, and I personally don't believe him when he says he never used any performance-enhancing drugs. However, he never admitted it, he never tested positive, and when he was on trial for perjury, for saying he never used performance-enhancing drugs in front of Congress, he was found not guilty. So as far as the law is concerned, he's innocent. I have my doubts, but let me know what you think down in the comments. If you think that he did use performance-enhancing drugs, hit the like button. If you think that he's never touched this stuff and that he's been clean his whole career, hit the dislike button. And let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.